Hello, hello. All right, giving this a shot. I have no idea what the audio quality is going to be like, so apologies if it's rubbish. I guess a little intro. This is the first video in this space, and I have hesitated for a long time in actually creating or sharing anything that I've created. And I just want to do a bit more of that. So I'm trying to create a space that fosters that. And I I came to a mall that I don't usually come to because I have to pick something up, and didn't notice or didn't check the opening hours when I was coming here, and got here an hour before it opens. So I didn't feel like going home because I live half an hour away, and that didn't seem logical. So I figured instead this was the perfect time to do something I've been putting off. So, yeah, I guess as I said, I don't know what the audio will be like. It is raining, which is, I think, lovely, and I guess not everyone loves the rain. I love the rain. It's always a good omen to me. Well, not always, but if it's not a positive thing, then it's usually a necessary thing. And yeah, I guess we'll see if it picks up, if it keeps going. But I figured I would do one thing that I wanted to do, one thing I do a lot of, I guess, is tarot. I read tarot, I talk about it with people in my community, I observe, consume, engage with other people's tarot readings and sort of divinity and spirituality practices through the ether. And I wanted to participate a little bit more actively in that. So I figured I would do a tarot reading for this new space that I'm trying to, I guess, open up, but that we, if someone's watching this, will be hopefully co-creating. So that is the plan. I'm planning to draw 4 cards. So I'll say the questions as I draw them, but first, oh wow, okay. Oh, tower fell out. I don't even know what that means here. Obviously a tower event is a huge, well, it's a huge event. It can shake things up. It can completely destabilize you. There is a lot of that going on in my life at the moment. Lots of, I guess not lots of tower events, but sort of a couple big tower events. And they're not inherently negative. It's just everything is very much shifting, and things that were actually, oh my gosh, okay. So, look what I was saying. This is the perfect sign, because what I'm hoping to do here is to keep what I'm hoping to do. What I've been doing in my personal life, and what I would love to do more in community, is breaking down the tower, just deconstructing it, removing all of the limitations and structures and man-made, constructed bullshit that keeps us thinking we're safe and thinking we're so high above life and the natural world and everything else, and is an illusion, right? And I'm sure I'll get more into that as we go, but whenever I see the tower, it has never, I'm not to say that a tower event can't be something that is just tragic, that is senseless, that is truly devastating, and often it is devastating, in that it sort of devastates that's a separate thing. It can absolutely be just a senseless, horrific shift in your life. For me, when I draw the tower, every time it has been about the destruction, the total annihilation of something that I am better off without, but that I was too afraid to let go of. Whether it's, beliefs in self-image, whether it's family stuff, whether it's family, whether it's career, it's a whole worldview. The tower for me is always something that needs to come down. And I've been thinking about this a lot recently with white. Oh, look at that. We've got the lovers on the bottom of the deck. Yeah, the difference here. This is, oh, I love this. The stark contrast of what is man-made and constructed and needs to be brought down. The rain bringing us low, washing everything away, and then the sun coming out. And now, okay, I also, disclaimer, this is my travel deck. I don't usually use the classic Rider-Waite-Smith deck because I find it just, there are obviously problems with it. It is far too heteronormative. It is far too cis-normative. It is far too white. It is far too Christian. There are a lot of things in this deck about the people that it shows and who that privileges, and the kind of relationships and the kind of roles it privileges, ideas of masculine and feminine. I don't subscribe to any of that, and to be honest, there are very few cards in this deck that I actually am really reading the image of. I have a deck that I love that is my primary deck. It's my only other deck. I technically have two copies because I have the first copy that I got and did not treat as well as I should have. The cards got kind of bent, and it was a reprint, so they were sort of plasticky. And anyway, that was my learning deck. And then when I've been doing tarot for a while, I got myself I found I guess a copy of the original printing of that deck. And so I bought that for myself, and that is my deck. It is a beautiful deck. You will, I'm sure, see it on here. If you want to know, and it's called the This Might Hurt deck by Isabella Rotman. Love it. I don't have any other decks, but I would also love, I guess, recommendations. This is also just a place for me to ask questions and seek out new information. So I would love any recommendations of any decks that you guys particularly enjoy. I know I have a few tarot books, and the author of one of those books that I love, the book is fantastic, Radical Tarot by Charlie Claire Burgess. I know that they also have a deck that they have produced, but I don't actually have, or I don't think I've seen that deck. Anyway, any really good decks that get to the heart of what it's all saying and do away with the sort of temporal and cultural context like this one does, like this one has, does away with sort of that, those presuppositions and those stereotypes. Would love to see that. Just a very diverse deck. Lots of, I want my tarot deck to represent the full human experience, right? Because that is, I think, kind of the point of all of this is to, the point of all of this is to get to the truth of the human experience and the universal and the eternal, I guess, the divine. And obviously the divine is found across the entire spectrum of humanity. So you probably know that if you're here already. Just wanted a little disclaimer. Yeah, this is not the deck I usually use, but it's the deck that I carry with me. So we've got the Tower bringing everything down, and then what is waiting to emerge, what is coming up from the bottom, is the Lovers. We are bare, we are in nature, we are being blessed by the divine because we have blessed ourselves. We have chosen what's right for ourselves, and we are not making decisions blinded by the false security of these walls. And that's something that I have been thinking about a lot recently. If anybody watches, I know obviously a lot of people watch it, but HBO, or I guess Mike White's The White Lotus, I think that The White Lotus, the hotel, is one of the best representations of the Tower in media at the moment, in terms of, obviously there are representations of the Tower across all sort of, maybe not all forms of media, but it's a pretty common symbol. But I find that it's illustrated so beautifully in The White Lotus, the way that the hotel serves as the Tower, keeping people thinking that they're separate. And that's specifically, actually, I'm gonna do a whole other video on this, but season 3, the intro, if you haven't watched it, or, obviously, if you've watched the show, you've watched the intro. The season 3 intro is full of so much of this kind of imagery of being afraid of nature and staying inside your tower and thinking you're safe inside your tower, and whoops, suddenly the tower's under attack and you're too scared to go outside. So anyway, ooh, even the image of, it's very interesting who people are sitting next to. I'm just noticing that I think Piper, I don't know any of the actors' names, I always forget them, but the actor who plays Piper, her name comes up next to a character, I think it's a person, it might be an animal, sitting underneath a tree, and it's just giving me such Four of Cups energy. Like you have this opportunity presented to you, and you're just like, no, that's not good enough, not for me. Okay, so anyway, this might have been, I had 2 questions in mind, and I'm wondering if these were the answers to the first 2 questions, but I'm going to draw again and ask out loud. What is the energy of this space as it is? This space that exists that I have not entered yet. Oh, there it is. Okay. The star. This space is not a blank canvas, but it is, and not untouched, because there's so much life here, right? Even though we can't see any, there are no oh, I guess there's one bird. We've got a bird, we've got some flowers, but the grass, the water, the human, the stars, there's so much life present in this card, despite being kind of blank. And so obviously it's a card of healing. It's a card to, or it's a space, I guess, to sit and be accepted and let the messy bits come out and think about them and meditate on them and integrate them and move forward when we can in the way that we're ready to. So I am very excited to be, I'm definitely feeling sort of in this space. Maybe not in this space exactly. I've been in this space for a while. And this just feels like such a, like, not like a warm hug in the way that it's sort of cozy and comforting, but like a best friend sitting next to you by the side of a calm lake as you look at the stars and the full moon. You know, that is the energy. And actually, I'm just remembering a trip that I took almost a year ago, a camping trip, where I was getting so frustrated with trying to get a bear hang up, and I didn't get it up before nightfall, and so I was doing it in the dark, and I was so frustrated. I had to take a moment, and I used all my tools, and I went and sat by the water, and I just breathed and looked at the stars and looked at the moon, and mostly the stars. That was the first, it was a huge trip for me in terms of like reconnecting with the world and the earth and sort of the spirit that runs through us all. And it was big for me in terms of astronomy. I've never been very good at identifying constellations. I find that there's too much going on, and it's hard for me to pinpoint like the brightest ones and make the paths. But this trip, there were just so many stars. I was so far away from any light pollution, and I was like just lit up with joy later that night, looking at all the stars and finding all the constellations. And it was so beautiful to be looking at these stars and thinking about the constants, or the constancy, the constantness. I don't actually know what the noun is. I guess it's constants. The constants of the stars and the stories and the spirit that sort of runs through generations of life on this planet. So I'm rambling, but the star, I think, is such a calm, welcoming, accepting, healing space. And I could not have asked for, not that I would ask for, but that is just so beautiful and confirming to hear that that's the energy of the space right now. Now I'm going to be asking, what energy are we bringing to this space? That's another thing. I often say we instead of I, just in my, there's 2 cards here. Oh, okay. Oh, and there's actually 3. Ooh, okay. The energy we are bringing to the space. Right, as I was saying, my goodness. Okay. So this one kept falling. 2 of Wands. We are ready. We are setting out down a new path. We're ready for a new adventure. We're ready to discover something. And that definitely rings true for me. I hope it rings true for you as well, because it's just like, what a good perspective to have. On that subject, the 2 other cards that came out with it, but this is the one that kept falling when I kept picking them up. First one was the Page of Cups, which again, that beginner energy, that they're all very much beginner energy. So we've got Page of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, Two of Wands. And I love that, again, because of the combination of the different elements. I've been thinking a lot about that recently, and the way that everything interacts, and the way that the combination of fire and water can create change. The sort of alchemization aspect of the elements. Water and earth creating life, and fire and water, boiling water, cleaning things, and not cleaning, but cleansing, sterilizing, I guess, which is not a nice way to think of it, but like making a cup of tea, like releasing those oils from herbs, and just the way that everything interacts. Even if we think of earth as like plants, and then we get flour from wheat or whatever else, and the intention of like baking, and just all the ways that the elements combine to create change and create magic is, I think, incredible. So, Two of Wands, we are ready to discover the world. We are ready to discover a whole new world. We are ready to discover our inner worlds. We are just, and I love actually, because the Three of Wands feels very, very intentionally planned, whereas to me the Two of Wands is a much sort of purer, like, adventure energy. Like, we've got the whole world in our hands. We might not know what we are actually going towards, and we might not know what our goal or what our desired outcome is, but we're ready to discover, and we're gonna go. We're taking that first step. We've got 1 foot on the ground, 1 foot on the wall. We're moving. So, love that. Okay. Okay, I need to remember in future, I cannot pause a video and then go to a different app and then come back. I didn't write this down. I was not expecting to. I guess I could have used my journal. Wasn't expecting to do this. So, I was just using a spread that I found on my phone and that I'm kind of adapting, because I was shocked at the lack of, like, I couldn't really find any spreads for like a new space, which I thought would be a very common sort of easy thing to find. I figured if I'm moving into a new space, of course I'm going to do a spread about it. I'm gonna do a reading, but couldn't, I guess, yeah, do a reading, not do a spread. I'm gonna do a reading about it, but I couldn't find any sort of spreads out there. And maybe that is intentional. Maybe it's saying create your own. But I was having a hard time narrowing down the questions I wanted to ask and how to start this dialogue. So I looked one up, I changed it slightly. But the next question is, what do we need to know about this space? So what do we need to know? That one did kind of, no, let me keep going. Okay, there we go. That's the one. Okay. What do we need to know about the space? Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is a card of creating your own happiness, doing it intentionally, doing it slowly. Again, my other deck, which feels disrespectful to this deck, I'm sorry. But in my other deck, the Nine of Cups is a potter, and he's got all of his different creations behind him and one in the wheel in front of him. And that to me is such a beautiful image of creating the things that you want, doing it with intention, and not something I particularly love about that card is that all of the cups are different. It's not mass production. It's not crank out as much as fast as you can. It's thinking, what do I want to create in this moment that will bring me happiness, that will nourish me and sustain me, and how can I do that with my two hands? And so I love that. What we need to know about this space is that it's going to take intention. It might go slowly. It might, every video might look different. In fact, it probably will. I'm planning to do some tarot sort of readings. I usually do readings more, I guess I'm not sure how I'm going to do readings on here normally. Obviously this is kind of the first one, and I just figured, oh, okay, well, I guess we're recording on here actually, so no worries, hopefully. 1 second. Okay, not sure if we're recording sound from my phone or my headphones. I don't, oh, bottom of the deck. Okay, I don't tend to, or not tend to, I am not a content creator. So this is going to be very like YouTube in 2010 kind of style, before people had mics and lights and fancy setups. Not that that's a bad thing if it's, you know, do your craft with intention and use the tools that you value. That's up to every individual, but I certainly have not, like, I don't have a lot of spare capital to be investing in gear right now before I'm even doing the thing. So these headphones have the best mic of all my headphones, but they're on their way out too. And right now my phone is just propped on my steering wheel, so the mic might be completely covered. I have no idea. I really hope that you can hear this, but I guess if not, then that's just, you know, a lesson in moving forward. I've enjoyed recording it, at least so far, so whatever, maybe I'll do a voiceover. So everything's probably gonna look different. There's probably gonna be some tarot readings, there's gonna be some just rambling discussions. I've got a lot of thoughts going on, sharing just like things that I've created, art that I'm doing, maybe, yeah, some videos sort of working along with sort of craft projects. I do a bit of crochet and a bit of embroidery. I do a bit of painting. I do some writing. There'll probably be some things that I've written on here as well. Maybe reading some poetry or some short stories. But yeah, it's gonna be what we create it. I would love to be co-creating with some of you. I say some of you as if there will be thousands of people watching. I have no idea. I guess that's the other thing. I'm trying very much to get out of a space of performativity and into a space of doing things for myself and not hiding them. So this little corner of the internet, I guess, that I'm settling myself in, very much, yeah, it feels like that. It feels like a corner of a cafe where I've sat down and I'm not hunching away and facing the wall, and I've got my headphones on and I'm like typing quietly on my phone. I'm sitting, I'm stretching, I'm not stretching, but like sitting tall, stretching out, relaxing. I am writing, I am recording, I am meeting people's eyes if they walk by. I'm in the space doing my thing, but also not trying to be like, oh, I need to look productive. Oh, I hope I look cute sitting here. Oh, I'm slunched. That's probably so unattractive. Slunched? Hunched, slouched. That's probably so unattractive. I better sit up taller. No, I sit up tall when I'm feeling relaxed. I sit up and I take up space when I'm feeling comfortable. So this is kind of the whole sort of, not the whole, but one of the reasons that I wanted to start sharing content. I say content, sharing my thoughts and my experiences and what I'm doing, is to practice existing unapologetically, and just not unapologetically as in never taking accountability and never apologizing for making mistakes, for doing things that hurt people, for whatever else, but not apologizing for existing, which is something that I have really struggled with for a very long time. And I love the idea of, like, the Nine of Cups, he's on his own, but he's got 9 cups here. Like, he might be creating on his own, but he's ready for people to come over. He's ready. It also makes me think so much of craft markets. I am currently in the middle of a move, but I lived in the UK in London for 4 years, and I had to stop. I had too much to bring home with me, but going to a market and seeing the things people had crafted by hand and how beautiful they are and how much people care about their art. I absolutely love it. And I have bought so many like handmade mugs from those markets, so many plates and coasters and dresses and just everything that it makes me so happy to use and wear and appreciate things that have been lovingly crafted by a person. And I guess technically there are people involved in various mass production things, but it feels very different to me. That's actually something, anyway, that's for another video. So Not even going to say it here, but I'll say a little bit. I've been thinking a lot about the way that we define magic and spellcraft and what a spell is. And this is partly for a writing project that I'm working on that involves magic. And I was trying to think of how spells would work. And it occurred to me that a spell would be perhaps baking for someone. A spell would be making someone a candle to bring them protection. A spell would be crafting a garment for someone to wear and keep them warm with intention and care and love put in, and that time and that thought process. And that to me feels very much like, like spell work. It's not like, to me, waving a wand and saying a word doesn't make sense. To me, magic is something that is created over time. And even that word magic, I know some people are probably gonna, well, I don't know. The word magic, some people might react to like, oh, it's not real. That is a whole other subject, really. But I think if you can acknowledge that incredible things happen in the world and that we co-create our realities to any extent, that's kind of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the magic of opening yourself up to an opportunity and having the perfect thing come along. I'm talking about opening yourself up to relationships and finding a really deep connection with someone who truly sees you. I'm not talking about making a wish and losing 10 pounds. I guess that's not really what people wish for, but there's a lot of, and I guess that's the other thing. I'm not really talking to the mainstream narrative. We are getting rid of that. So, mainstream narrative says magic isn't real. Fuck that. Magic is whatever we make it. And we have the entire world at our fingertips here. And if you don't believe that the existence of this world and this universe is magic, then that's your perspective. But I can't not believe that anymore. I can't not believe that there is something bigger, that there is something not even bigger, but something connecting, something that runs through everything living on this planet and off this planet. So where did I even get with that? Right. Co-creating, making your future, making your magic, making your life intentionally. So what we need to know here is that we're going to be intentional. We are going to be multi-passionate, and we're not going to be experts in anything. I feel a lot of pressure to be an expert in one thing and like know everything and do it perfectly. And I've really been discovering the joy of being an amateur again. That's why, I do a bit of crochet, a bit of embroidery. I'm very much learning those, but I love learning them. And I'm loving doing the projects that I can do right now. Even though sometimes they take me a really long time. This camping trip I went on, I was actually working on the blanket that I'm currently working on at that time. And that was maybe not almost, 3/4 of a year ago. So things take time, but with time and intention, this might be the first cup in the row, and it might take me another week. It might take me 2 weeks. It might take me a month to create another cup and put it out there on the shelf. But we're going to keep doing it. And you guys can come back and check in if you want. You guys, again, I have no idea if anyone's going to see this, but that's kind of the thing. It's out there, and whoever finds it, finds it. So, last question was, what can we do to, oh gosh, what was it? Okay, I figured it out this time, how to see the thing without closing down the video. What can we do to make this space ours? So I don't like the idea of like possessing, but what can we do to inhabit this space and fill it with not fill it with our energy, but to co-create what could be from the combination of our energy and that welcoming star energy that has so much room for potential. The star, of course. The star is, you might know, sort of a card of like hope and beginnings and the calm after the tower, actually. The star is very much a space of healing and starting fresh and being cleansed and washed free of all the nonsense that we've just gone through and starting again. So how can we start? What can we bring to really create this space as it could be with all of our collective energy for its, not even its highest potential, I don't want to say, but for what it could do for myself, for yourself, for anyone. Okay, so we've got, again, 2 cards here. One that was just a little sticky out, and so I figured I would grab it because it didn't quite go in, and I thought, we'll see. That's another thing. When you're drawing, if you do tarot, do you wait for flyers to specifically fly out? Do you take cards that sort of are not going into the deck when you're shuffling? Do you always cut the deck into piles? Do you take the top card? I just would love to know how other people draw cards. I often get flyers, so I often take the flyers, but sometimes I don't. And then I'm like, oh God, what do I do? Do I keep shuffling until I get one? Do I cut the deck? How do I cut the deck? And again, I get in my head about this, like, what's the right way? I'm starting to realize there is no right way, but I would love to hear what everyone else does. So the card that flew out face up, so wanted me to read it first, was Judgment. Again, this is one of those like Christian, like that is the straight up, that's the English flag right there, which is a whole thing. We are anti-colonial here. I am moving back, I call it the UK, England. I will be moving back to England, because the United Kingdom is a colonial construct, and Scotland, Ireland, and Wales are their own places. Those aren't even their names. And that's a whole other thing. But the idea of judgment as a call to action, a call from the divine to answer your calling, to chase your purpose, to do the thing that you've been putting off doing. So that's what we can do here. And the second card that sort of was sticking and that I took, Knight of Wands. Again, do the thing. Do the thing you're passionate about. Do the thing you're drawn to do. Do the thing. And enjoy it. Race forward and create and connect and embrace, I guess, this new path. So that's what we're going to try to keep doing here. We are co-creating. How many cards do we get there? Like 8? 9 cards. Well, that's a good sign. Numerology is something I've been learning about recently. Never really, again, it was one of those things that sort of, the dominant narrative in Western colonial capitalist society had told me was like bullshit. And it's like, who knows? Your values are bullshit, so may as well try some others. But I'm very much still unpacking a lot of that, like what other people have told me is valuable or is not valuable, and what I have not even fully, believed fully, what I've almost forced myself to believe. The value of different things, and therefore the value of myself or of various people, mostly myself. But the value of different types of work, the value of different types of belief systems. If it's not like scientific method, objective, whatever the fuck, then it's not valuable. And I, over the last few years, mostly since I started doing tarot, I've realized how untrue that all is. That intuition and the things we cannot see or evaluate or objectify are often the most powerful and the most true. So whatever rings true for you, rings true for you. But anyway, as I was saying, so we've got this, we're setting up, first of all, I don't need to do a little summary, but yeah, we are tearing down the tower. We are choosing what's in alignment with ourselves. We are living to connect and to love. And we've got this beautiful little space. Well, I say beautiful little space. We've got this space that could be whatever. It could be anything, but it has all this possibility and it's welcoming us in. So we are going to go forth. We are going to create. We are going to seize the opportunity. We are going to chase our inspiration. We are going to start on a little adventure. we are going to remember that, not remember, but we're going to know that it's going to look different every time. This will probably be, well, I can't say probably. I have no idea. I have no idea what the next thing that I share will be. I have no idea where this will go from here. But hey, we did the thing. You know, we Knight of Wands, and we judgmented. Judgmented? I don't know. We judged, I guess. That's the verb. Anyway, yeah, thank you for being here, I suppose. If you're here, thank you, because otherwise you wouldn't hear this. Yeah, this has been fun.